Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is your host, Felipe Milicio, the Total Basis Baseball Cosmos edition, as we do a little bit of a crossover with our good friend, Melvin Lopez. Melvin, say good morning to everybody.
Good morning to everybody. How are y'all? Good to be here. This little rainy Sunday morning here.
Yeah, it's
a little bit under the weather, but
it's better than the snow we've been getting lately, as Chicago has been plastered with snow. Not as bad as some other parts of the country, but still, it's like every day we wake up and there's more snow. So I'll take the rain as opposed to the snow at this point, because I'm tired of it already. And I'm a big winter guy. Right. I love winter. I got the beard going to make sure I keep warm, but it's not enough this time around. So because it's just been crazy. So I'll take the rain. All right. And then, so as you guys can see from the title, we are doing a special tribute to Dominican baseball players. It was Dominican Republic's Independence Day this past weekend. And Melvin had a great idea to kind of hop on board and discuss the impact that Dominican baseball players have had on the game. And I guess, Melvin, as I was joking around earlier before we got started, you know, I'm Mexican, you're Puerto Rican. So I guess from an outsider point of view, what do you think the impact of the Dominican baseball players have had on the game of baseball?
Well, the academies in the Dominican Republic count for a lot of the revenue that MLB is willing to put into it. Yeah. There's been players. Juan Soto came out of one of those academies. So, and just like him, there's a lot of talent there. You know, there's a saying in the island that, you know, to get out of there, you got to hit your way out of there, you know.
You don't walk out of the island. That's right.
You don't walk out of there. You hit your way out of there. Yeah. So it's part of their culture. And I'm really, you know, I'm blessed to have seen a lot of Dominican players that we're going to talk about influence MLB. And there's a lot of them coming. There's a lot of the Hall of Fame here in the next few years is going to see a little more Dominicans than they have. So an impact like none other, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, the baseball has been a game of just impacts from all over the world. You got Japan and South Korea, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Venezuela. And still somehow the Dominican Republic, a tiny little island that it's not even a full island. They have to share that entire island with another country in Haiti. And somehow they are able to produce such legendary and great baseball players, not just for today, but as of yesteryear as well. So let's get going. Melvin and I decided to do a little bit of what do you call it? Compiling a roster just full of Dominican Republican players, right? So as he was insistent upon it yesterday when we were talking via chat, Alex Rodriguez does not count as a Dominican, damn it. So don't put him in there.
Yeah, I left it up to everybody. I left it up to you, my friend. He made a choice. Whom did he play for? He played for Team USA, right? In the 2006 WBC. So he made the choice. He played for Team USA. So he was going to play in 2009, but all of a sudden, I think he got like a hip injury, I believe. And he didn't play. And then by 2013, nobody wanted any part of him. Doesn't matter which country it was. Nobody wanted any part of him by then. So, I mean.
Speaking of the WBC, first of all, I hope it comes back soon because I really, really miss it. But here's what the results have been for the Dominican Republic. They got a 4th place finish in 2006 for the inaugural World Baseball Classic. They didn't place in the top 4 in 2009. They came back with a vengeance in 2013 as champions. Yeah. And then in 2017, they did not place in the top 4. So it's always been, so I'm not crazy, right? I always thought that, you know, for a roster that's so full of talent, they kind of always fall short. Well, not always, but I guess so, man. And the expectations are always so high is what I'm trying to say for the Dominicans.
Yeah, they got, if you're a Dominican superstar, there's been talks that sometimes high-ranking politicians and government officers, they call them and say, hey, are you playing in the World Baseball Classic? It's like, if it's that serious for them. And also to add to your point, Felipe, on the Caribbean series, they have the most wins. Tigres del Licey and Águilas Cibaeñas, they got 16. They got combined together. They are the number 1 and 2 teams in the Dominican in the Caribbean World Series. And as a country, the Dominican Republic has 21 Caribbean World Series titles. So it's their culture. It's who they are. That's
but
what they
my
live
question
and breathe.
was, since we're talking about the World Baseball Classic, why do you think they always fall short in the World Baseball Classic? Because it's not like they're missing anybody. You look at those rosters, and it's a who's who of Major League Baseball, right?
Yeah.
So why do you think they always fall short in the WBC?
You know what? It just sometimes it comes down to bullpen management. You know, those games. And I mean, the WBC is as good as it's gonna get. I mean, you're never gonna get major league teams to agree to let a reliever go back-to-back days. That's never gonna happen in the WBC. The WBC is about as good as it's gonna get. Now, if I could throw a guy 2 days in a row back there to get me 8 outs in 2 days, then it probably would be a little more representative of reality. Right. But that's what happens. And it's not only the Dominican Republic that has those restrictions, but these Dominican arms, man, if you don't score on them by the 4th inning, you're not going to score on them. But a big part is that bullpen management restriction in the WBC.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. So you can't rely on your horses to get to the promised land, where a team like the U.S., I guess they have a little bit more depth, especially the last time they played this tournament. So I'm hoping it comes back soon. So, but without further ado, let's get to those lineups. I gotta ask, were you inspired by our month-long series with Sean and I over at the Total Bases podcast?
Definitely.
Yes, gotcha.
I don't miss it. You guys are on point on that. So
thank you. All right, let's get going. So let's start at catcher. You want to start at catcher then?
Yes, sir.
All right.
To me, and we have to get creative on this one. I want to see which way you got creative, because to me, the all-time greatest catcher in Dominican baseball has been Mr. Tony Pena. To me, yes, he was very light hitter, but he was a 5-time All-Star, and he was the man behind the plate on a lot of really good teams. So, and you ask anybody from the Dominican Republic, their catcher is Tony Pena. So. And I don't have a second catcher, and I'll tell you the reason after I hear your catcher, Felipe.
Yeah, I also found it very difficult to find our catcher, let alone a backup catcher. But Tony Pena seemed to be the best choice here, really the only choice. So, like I was telling you before we started, that I had to get super creative with the catchers. But let's focus on Tony Pena first, because I think he doesn't get enough credit for his accomplishments. You mentioned 5 All-Stars. He finished MVP in 12th one time in 1983 with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He placed 6th in Rookie of the Year in 1981. He placed 21st in 1990 for MVP. Well after supposedly he's past his prime at this point, 1990, but he was 33 years old with the Red Sox.
4 Gold Gloves as well.
That's right. In 84.
And gold gloves as catcher, you got to earn those. You're not going to get away with just being offensive Gold Glove, kind of like those Bernie Williams Gold Gloves kind of things, So those Gold Gloves at catcher, those are real.
In 1983, 84, 85, and 91, just to kind of put an exclamation point on his career. And his last season as a regular was in 93, but he kept playing until 97. And from, let's see, I'm just trying to think here. I guess 95, he was with the Cleveland Indians, so that's a playoff appearance for him. Mm-hmm. But it seems like, his teams were always pretty well put together.
No team would ever revolve around him. I like those players, players that they got your back. You know what I'm saying? That those leaders, and that's what Tony Pena was. He was a leader. He's a manager these days too. He's a really great manager in the Dominican.
And then just to cap off some other things about Tony, he hit 10 home runs and got to 10 stolen bases twice in his career. So for catchers, that's a rarity for them to do it once. He did it twice in 84 and 85. So for a guy who's always playing fantasy baseball like I am, I definitely would have been attracted to a Tony Pena in the mid 80s because of the stolen bases.
In the mid 80s, these days, and it's not like, he had 7 years with the Pirates. That was his team that he was the most tenured with. Yeah. And, he had a batting average of 286. Now, a guy that's 5'6" and hits 286, that guy knows what he's doing with the bat. So it's not like he was, he was Rafael Belliard or somebody that could not hit. This guy had 800 games with the Pirates and he hit 286. Now I know batting average is not representative of reality, but I mean, the guy knew what he was doing with the bat. I mean, he stayed in the major leagues for a long time. So definitely my catcher, Tony Pena, is the man.
Yeah, that's interesting right here.
And the reason why I don't have a backup, and I know the Don City guys are going to laugh at this one. The reason I don't have a backup is because it took me so long to find a backup catcher. And I was like, okay, let me see who ranks next in WAR. And guess who the next WAR guy is? Gary Sanchez. And I was like, I refuse to put Gary Sanchez as my backup all Dominican catcher. No, sir. So I went with one catcher rather than having Gary Sanchez nowhere near a great, an all-time great team.
So here's some numbers with the Pittsburgh Pirates for Tony Pena. He had 285 and got an unbase percentage of 327 for an ops plus of 104. That's staying above water for a catcher right there, and you would definitely take that.
And that's much more that was expected out of Tony Pena. Yeah. So, and later in his career, he kind of became a nomad. But that's 800 games right there with the Pirates. That's 6 strong seasons right there.
And to put it in a nice little bow, he played 1,950 games at catcher. So the guy was that's pretty durable right there. Let's see. So that I'm bringing that up, the number of games at catcher, because at this point, are you ever going to need a backup catcher? Because this guy will be playing almost every day, it seems like. You would think,
this
right?
guy would catch 150 games a year. Yeah. So all you need is, throw a catcher's mitt at the tallest guy and give the pitcher a good target.
Well, that is exactly what I did for my backup catcher. You don't have a backup catcher, but that's what I have. And here's my backup catcher. It's a guy by the name of Carlos Santana, not the guitarist, but the actual
Carlos Santana. Okay.
He used to play catcher for the Cleveland Indians. He got to about 350 games at catcher in his career before they decided that, let's put him at third base, and that didn't work. So they put him at first base, and he's been an on-base percentage machine for a long time now. But if I need a good hitting, pinch hitter or just a catcher to just do it every once in a while, I think I can survive with Carlos Santana as my backup catcher. So
Carlos Santana, that's great. I don't have a backup catcher, so we can move on, my brother.
Your team is screwed, is what it is. How do you not have a backup catcher?
I got Tony Pena catching 162, all-star Perez in 2014. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, look at you! All right. So you do listen to the Total Bases podcast. Okay, let's move on to
Perez. Let's go around the horn.
Let's move to first base. Or you want to go third base or first base?
No, whichever. Let's go to first base.
Let's go to first base.
This discussion is going to be pretty easy.
All right, and I got Albert Pujols. Do you have Albert Pujols?
Okay. I got Albert Pujols and a backup, and it's not Poppy because Poppy's somewhere else.
Yeah.
My backup first baseman is Pedro Guerrero.
Nice.
This guy right here, he was some serious business. He had like 7 or 8 straight years with the Dodgers, and this guy was serious business. And in his day, he was not as appreciated, but today, guys like, these guys, he had career OPS of 850, slugging of 480, 370 on base for a career. That's for his career. Yep. So this guy was a really, really good player for a good number of years for some good teams. Now, obviously, and he was MVP of the 81 World Series as well. So this guy is something serious, and he goes forgotten. Before Albert Pujols, this guy was the all-time first baseman for the Dominican Republic, Pedro Guerrero. This guy was some serious business there.
And I saw Pedro Guerrero, and as I anglicize it for all our English-speaking friends, Pedro Guerrero.
Peter Warrior.
Peter Warrior, that's right. You want to do that for all of them? Anglicize their names?
Yes, yeah.
I forgot what Pujols mean, but Pujols does mean something, and I just can't remember what exactly it means. Okay.
Pujar is like...
Empujar, Pedro. I'm sorry, Albert pushover. Albert pushing over. Okay, so my backup, because I did see Peter Warrior, Pedro Guerrero out there, but I'm like, no, that's no, I have no attachment to him. So I went and looked, and I had 3 names that I was considering for my corner infield spot. See, I don't have a backup first baseman. I have a corner infield spot guy. And you know what? My guy actually does qualify at both first base and third base. If you remember, my guy, I'm going to mention him in a little bit. His career did start at third base for a long time. But yeah, there was a decent amount of players that I was considering, including Jose Bautista, and another name escapes me. But I'm like, man, this is a tough choice for me. Ultimately, I went with my guy, Double E, Edwin Encarnacion, who like I said, with the Reds, I remember him starting his career off at third base. He went to Toronto and just blew up. Literally, like he just began crushing the ball on a more consistent basis. He so far has 424 career home runs in 16 seasons, bro. It seems like only yesterday that Edwin Encarnacion was like, trying to come up with the Reds. That's how.
Reds, yeah, that seems like yesterday. And this guy was a serious the Reds had some really good teams for a couple of years there. Yep. They had some playoff teams, and this guy was right in the middle of all the action there. It's not like this guy was riding the train there. And then when he's a serious player, 400 plus home runs, I believe.
That's what I just said, 424.
Yeah, 424. Yeah, that's that. This guy knows what he's doing.
And then he gets to the Blue Jays, and he helps turn around that franchise into playoff contenders, and was able to make 3 All-Star appearances with them, along with Jose Bautista, who is also Dominican. But like I said, I went with Double E because it seemed like he was a better fit for my team. I'm trying to see who else I was considering for this last spot. If you give me a second. Oh, Hanley Ramirez was also in there that I was trying
Ramirez, yeah. He was another name there.
And I think that was it. Yeah, so it was those 3 guys, Jose Bautista, Hanley Ramirez, and Edwin Encarnacion, and Pedro Guerrero as well. Aramis Ramirez was also in the mix as well. And I just,
corner outfielders, yeah.
So I just had to go with my guy Edwin Encarnacion, who I've been following for a long time. Like I said, it seemed like it was only yesterday that he was coming up, and now I feel older than dirt. So let's go to second base. I am very interested to hear who you have at your second base spot.
I got, and I know I'm gonna hear grief from you, but I did leave it up to you. I did leave it up to your choice, but there's nobody else better than Robinson Cano, my friend.
Yeah,
that's who it is. That's who it is. I mean, and I'm a, hey, if you take the steroids away kind of guy, I'll give you that argument because I use it for Bonds and Clemens, but we're not gonna get into that. But if you take the steroids away, still there's nobody better than I did have Robinson Cano at second base, and I thought about all the other and most of the other second basemen from the Dominican Republic have been the Manny Lee, the Tony Fernandez defensive specialists, and but man, Robinson Cano had it all back in his prime, man. He was, to me, had it not been for the steroid accusations, that guy would have a yes in the Hall of Fame for me. And this guy is something serious there. So definitely Robbie Cano.
I also have Robinson Cano. And while we're looking, what the hell is this? While we're looking this up, I figured that we have fun with some of these names as well. So what I found out that Pujols actually means hills. So it's Albert Hills. Albert Hills. That's how far his balls go. They go up into those hills. Who else was there? I'm trying to look up Robinson Cano, but I'm having some issues.
Cano is like somebody who's got gray hair. So Robinson gray-haired person.
Oh, snap. Yeah. I did not know that.
Cano is a person with gray hair. So it's a Robinson gray-haired person. There you go.
So I was trying to look at the official translation, and for some reason it has given me the Swedish translation. Which, hey, bro, I'm trying to learn Swedish, but I'm not Swedish, so, and I can't find the English version. So anyway, I also have Robinson Cano. I mean, there's not much to say. He's one of the PED will get him in trouble, the PED use, but at the same time, he was a very, very good hitter. Oh, by the way, it means spout. So Robinson Spout.
Spout.
I would have never have guessed that. Okay.
Never in a million years. But then again, I don't speak Swedish, so everything forgets everything. Everything.
No, that's what it means. Cano, the Cano English translation is spout.
Spout. Oh wow!
I did not know that.
Robinson Spout. Okay.
Yeah. Santana means follower of Saint Anna. So Carlos is follower of Saint Anna.
Follower of Santana.
Saint Anna.
But hey, by the way, I do have a backup guy here. By the way, with this guy because I had to put him in here.
We'll get to it because I also have a backup too. But we'll you know what? We'll have a middle infield, just a middle infield one. But Cano again, a great hitter with the Yankees. Took advantage of that short porch. and was able to hit those line drives. And then once he got to Seattle, he realized that he wasn't going to be able to get away with that. So he adjusted his swing and he became a ground ball hitter, but he still became a very productive one at that with the Mariners. Although you could tell that the bigger ballpark did affect his production a little bit, but still was able to help out that team as best he could. And then now he's with the Mets and he's suspended for the whole year. But yeah, he was able to accumulate. And also another known fact about Robinson Cano, Jay-Z's first client as a
that's right. Yeah. So I remember that. Yeah.
All right, and like I said, we'll go to your middle infield in just a bit. I have a couple of middle infielders I want to get to, but let's go to the starting shortstop. And I got Miguel Tahara at one point. Again, another PED guy. It's going to be a running theme here, isn't it? Like, I have another PED guy.
Another guy right there. But then without him, if you saw him play, I mean, he's very durable.
Well, there's a reason for that. His durability.
That's right. Yeah.
All sorts of forms. But you said that you can't get off the island walking, but you also can't get off the island with just being meager and being very weakling, not having that muscle definition in you. So I don't blame him.
That's right.
Miguel Tahara, I read a story about him a long time ago when he was, and this might be the motivation why he decided that this was the best route for him to stay in baseball, which, it is what it is, But when he first started, I forgot what team it was on. Was it the A's? But I honestly don't remember who signed him. Was it the A's the whole time?
Yeah, it was the A's the whole time.
Well, they gave him a $1,000 bonus, which is chump change. It really, for him, it's nothing. It probably was gone within a month. Of course. And he was lonely. He was in a new country, did not learn the language, and he just spent his days alone in his studio apartment watching telenovelas, eating ramen noodles, and just living a very meager life. So when he blew up, physically and productively, and for the Oakland Athletics, as he became an MVP candidate,
and his bank account.
Yeah, his bank account. Well, that was the result. He got a bigger bank account and didn't have to worry about that, living a poor man's life in baseball, which is unfortunately that's the norm.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, that's the norm. But I don't blame him for going the route that he did, because if I were to live that way, and you tell me that if I just do this to myself, I can get bigger and I can get paid for it, screw it. I'm not eating ramen for the rest of my life if I don't have to, right? So it is.
And that's the same argument of, if there's a pill that's not illegal and you can take it so you can be better at your job and get paid more. I mean, that's the same argument. And you know what? That argument's it's hard to argue with that logic, to be quite honest with you.
I mean, college students do it. I mean, you hear about college students getting on pep pills and ADHD pills. Chris Davis.
And you know what? At the same time, they're adults. They know what they're doing. You gotta at some point you gotta draw the line as well. So yeah, I agree with you, Miguel. I was gonna say Miguel Cabrera, Miguel Tahara. I agree. He was a great player. I would have him as a starter as well. That's very, very. You can't argue with that guy. Former MVP, multiple All-Stars. So
yeah. 2002 was the MVP year. He led the league in RBI with 150 in 2004. Once he signed with the Orioles.
Orioles, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to argue against Tejada's production. I mean, yeah, it's questionable how he got there, but like I said, I don't blame him. He started from rags and now he became rich out of it. So whatever. Now here's where it gets interesting. Like I told you, there's going to be middle infield positions. I have two of them. How many do you have?
I have two more.
You got two more. All right, let's start with you. Who's your first middle infielder on your bench?
And second base already, because you know what? If we made this list in 2007, Albert Pujols was going to be the first base.
Yeah.
So he hasn't been around long enough, doesn't count. You can tell, Jose Ramirez already in that middle infield. And he's got over about 140, 150 of his games have been in second base. He's got 500 in third base and 140 in second base. So Jose Ramirez already. On second base. That's my first one.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see. I have Julio Franco as my. I typed in utility guy because apparently he did play multiple positions around the infield. I remember him as a second baseman. So I had him in mind as being my right-handed counterpart to Robinson Cano on my bench. But knowing that he could play all positions. And from what I remember, he could play very well and also carried a mean stick. and also a suspected PED user. Like I said, my favorite picture that I've ever seen of Julio Franco was his baseball reference page when he was with the White Sox, and all you see is like this bulbous head, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, come on, man, you were using.
You go from athletic shortstop to backup first base at 50. I don't know who makes that. I don't know how that transition happened. Like you are athletic from athletic 27-year-old shortstop. You went from athletic 27-year-old shortstop to 50-year-old backup first base and swing the stick with Atlanta.
Yeah,
that transition's a little unusual to say the least.
Yeah,
but yeah, I remember Julio Franco as a second base and a shortstop as well. If I remember correctly, that last All-Star game at Wrigley, he did very well that day. I do believe he hit a home run in that All-Star game in '90. Julio Franco at the All-Star game. So yeah, he started in '82. He went 25 professional years of baseball. OPS is 782. So yeah, that's middle infield acceptable, I would say, right?
Oh, it's more than acceptable. Yeah, you take that every year. Rookie of the year in 1983. 25th in MVP in 1988. I mean, this guy, people forget how awesome this guy was.
Yeah, because a lot of people remember him from, his latter days when he was, bouncing around. I think up until like the mid 90s, and then he went to Japan a couple of years as well.
Yeah.
To rediscover things or whatever they called it. Back in the day, they didn't send you to AAA. They sent you to Japan to rediscover your swing. Apparently,
right,
So that's what happened to him, and he came back, and he put in like 10 more years after he came back from Japan. So definitely, I can see Julio Franco was an excellent player, to say the least.
So from 83 to 1991, 84 home runs, 219 stolen bases, 302 batting average, 360 on base, 771 ops, 112 ops plus. I mean, yeah, this guy, I remember I had a Julio Franco baseball card, and I saw his stats and from 91, and like how this guy's so awesome. He had 341 that year and just crushing and killing the ball with the Texas Rangers. But that should have been the first indicator. He played with the Rangers in the 90s. So that should have been it right there. Let's see. So that's my utility spot. Do you have another utility player or another middle infielder you want to talk about on the bench?
I do. And it's already this guy right here that I'm about to mention is the guy that just became the newest, most eligible bachelor in San Diego because he just signed that big contract, Fernando Tati Jr. I'm already putting him over there, and when this is all said and done, he's going to be the greatest shortstop in Dominican Republic history. This guy is something serious. I'm banking on him to put him already there. I know the sample size is small, but you know what? This is when I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about the sample size is small. This is when, if you got these two right here, you can see this kid and you see what happens when a marginal okay player like Fernando Tati Sr. has a player that's a little bit better than him. Those guys turn into monsters like Ken Griffey Jr., like Cody Bellinger, like Mahomes, and that makes sense, obviously. And now Fernando Tatis Jr., my man, this guy, get his rookie card, 2019 Topps, get it, and try to get him while you can, because here's this guy right here. I can't say enough about him. I saw him, and he said he's going to keep playing in the Winter League. I don't know if that's in the contract or not. I really hope he does, because that's going to bring some revenue into the league. I mean, his dad is involved with the Estrellas Orientales, his team in the Dominican Republic. His dad is up in the C-level suite of that team, Fernando Tatis Sr. So I'm pretty sure they can come up to an agreement to where at least Junior can make a couple of appearances to sell tickets and, swing the bat a couple of times, maybe some DH, that they could currently come. But this guy is going to be the franchise. I'm telling you, this dude, watch out. That's what I'm saying. So I'm already putting him as my best of all time Dominican shortstop.
And before I move on to my other middle infielder, and you're gonna love my middle infielder, all right? But let's go back and make fun of some of these names here. So Julio Franco would be Julio French. Franco means
July Frankie. Yeah.
July Frenchie. Yeah, July French.
July Frankie. Yeah.
France, French culture, or the French. So yeah, July Frenchie. That would be his name. Edwin Encarnacion would just simply be Edwin Encarnacion.
Encarnacion, yeah.
You're gonna love Miguel Tahara. Miguel Tahara means roof. So Miguel Roof.
Miguel Roof. Mickey Roof. Mickey Roof.
Mickey
Michael
Roof. Mickey
Mickey
Roofie.
Roofie.
Mickey Roofie.
Mickey
Okay.
Roofie.
Mickey Roofie. Okay,
Mickey
Fernando
Roofie.
Tatis. Apparently, I looked up the word Tatis, and it's another way of saying taxi. So,
Ferdinand Taxi. Yeah,
Ferdinand Taxi. Yeah, that's right.
Ferdinand Taxi. Okay.
Yeah. And lastly, the last guy my middle infielder, also a former Padre All-Star, to say the least. Yeah, in 1992, he made the All-Star team. Played multiple positions, but you'll remember him as a shortstop. Also a great slick fielding shortstop and middle infielder. Tony Fernandez.
Tony Fernandez, yes.
Yeah,
I mentioned him. He struck me more as a second baseman, but I think that was later in his career. But I remember he started at shortstop. Yes.
No,
that's absolutely true.
When I started watching baseball, he was at shortstop only. And let's take a look. How many appearances did he make at both spots? He made 201 appearances at second base, but that was later in his career. Like you mentioned, 109 games
in his career
with the Cleveland Indians in 1997. But for the majority
of the time,
that
pretty well. Yeah, they remember him pretty well.
Also some third base, so a little bit of Jose Ramirez reincarnation going. Encarnacion.
Yeah.
Encarnacion. And then lastly, 1,500 plus games at shortstop, mostly from 85 to 92. So let's take a look at some of those numbers from 85 to 92. 92 was an all-star year, as I mentioned. I remember that.
He was a defensive guy. I mean, that the tide hadn't shifted. You know, it was only Cal Ripken because he was the only one that was swinging the bat at shortstop. But I think he was in the last generation of defensive-minded only shortstops. And then obviously when A-Rod and Jeter and Nomar came out, you know, the defensive, the makeup of the shortstop changed. So I remember Tony Fernandez may have been that last crop of shortstop, defensive shortstops.
Well, he was no slouch though. I mean, from 85 to 93, I remember I had his rookie, or not his rookie card, sorry, his some of his baseball cards when I was a kid, and like this guy can hit too. And he used to kill my Cubs all the time as well when I was watching them play the Padres. So here are the numbers from 85 to 1993: 50 home runs, 197 stolen bases. Hit 286 with on base percentage of 340. He didn't slug the ball, but he was at a respectable ops plus of 101. So, and he also got some MVP consideration in 1988. 4 consecutive Gold Gloves from 86 to 89. I mean, yeah, man, this guy.
In that world, if we still value players today,
yeah,
if we still value players today, like that shortstop and Tony Fernandez was valued, this guy would be the guy to get a 3-4 year deal. I mean, he wouldn't. This guy would get a 3-4, maybe 5-year deal. He was a serious player.
And you know, he played with the Blue Jays in the 80s. The Blue Jays made a couple of playoff appearances, if I remember correctly, during that time. So no, man, he wasn't just a light hitting shortstop, but he was a big contributor. So let's find out, what does Fernandez mean? Fernandez means son of Fernando.
Ferdinand, yeah.
But if you take it a step further here, my friend, if you want to go with the German derivation of it, it means brave traveler. So this guy is Antonio Traveler.
Anthony Brave Traveler. Okay.
Anthony Brave
Tony
Traveler.
Fernandez.
So there you go. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what's up. Shall we go to third base?
Yeah, and okay, I think this is an obvious one. Oh yeah, two. How many do I have?
I got two guys here.
I have one.
I got two guys here.
All right. Who's your guys?
My guy, third base, obvious choice was Adrian Beltre. Okay, that's my guy. And ladies and gentlemen, my second choice, from our Cubs, Aramis Ramirez, my man.
So you fit him into your team. Okay.
I had to find a way. I had to find a way to put Ramirez in there. Okay. And people forget how good Ramirez was because, you know,
it's like we talked about him earlier, sometime in January or something, right? About Ramirez.
But I found a way to put him in there because he's, to me, the second best Dominican third baseman behind Beltre. So that's my third base right there.
Who's your? I also have Adrian Beltre as well. Who is your second third base? Oh no, that was it. Aramis Ramirez.
Ramirez. Yep.
Okay.
Beltre and Ramirez. Yep.
Okay. So Adrian Beltre, I mean, he's his next stop Hall of Fame, 477 career home runs, 1,700 RBI, Ops plus of 116, which is lower than I anticipated. But I mean, this guy was putting up 140s, 163 in 2004 with the Dodgers, which is crazy to think about because LA has always been a pitcher-friendly ballpark from what I remember, especially out on the West Coast. So no, he held his own, and most importantly, he had a very, very productive glove out there, like a real.
He was very. He got the Gold Gloves. Now that they're giving them the right way, he got a lot of these the right way. So
yeah, and also he's infamously known for being good friends with Elvis Andrus and having that.
He doesn't like his head touch. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, don't touch his head.
And again, another suspected PED use. That's okay.
Well, hey, that's that we're.
I told you, man, running thing, bro.
I'm bad. I mean, you can put. I mean, just wait till we do Puerto Rico and the other countries. They're all there. So this thing did not discriminate, my brother. You put a Dominican team together, that's gonna come into play. You put an American team, or
the American team,
yeah,
the
Venezuela team, the Puerto Rican team, yeah. You got a couple of them that are like, oh, wait a minute, what? Okay,
I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that cheating does help. Cheating is a baseball thing, whether using trash cans or vaccines or injections. It works. We glorify the cheaters in this game. Let's go to left field. Another one, Manny Ramirez. I got him at left field.
I got Manny. I got Manny at left.
Manny being Manny, bro. I mean
being Manny. Yeah. I got Manny at left. Yeah, I have to get creative. How we do? Let's do. I'm gonna do my starting outfield, then I'll give you the backup.
Well, before you go, now let's put the spotlight on them a little bit. Manny Ramirez, one of the more colorful personalities in all of Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball history. But one thing that he could do very well and very consistently was just hit the crap out of the ball, and he did it with Cleveland. He went on to Boston and helped them win championships when that city has never experienced a championship before. And just one of the most feared right-handed hitters of his era. Would you agree, or would you like to add on to anything else?
Definitely. I mean, anything else, it's just, backing up what you said, Manny, I believe in 99, I remember his season, if you have it handy, in 99, that season, I think he pushed in like 165 for the first time. And since Hank Greenberg, he put up 165. Now, obviously, here comes the argument again, but I mean, in 97, 98 and 99, you put those two seasons together, my man, he was unbelievable those two seasons, 98 and 99.
And can you imagine if Cleveland wins at least one World Series during in the 90s?
Oh yeah,
he would have not just helped break one championship job, he would have done it twice in his career. If he would have been a part of it. So and we're gonna this 97 World Series has a lot of characters from the Dominican Republic. Have you noticed? Because we talked about Tony Fernandez. Yeah.
We'll talk about Manny Ramirez. Now we're about to talk another one when we go to the bullpen in a little bit. So I mean, I just noticed that this World Series in 97 had a lot of cast of characters from the Dominican.
I believe, did we say that Tony Pena was in those teams too, or I don't remember?
No, Tony Pena was in the 95 Indians, not the Marlins.
Oh, okay.
Tony Pena was in the 95. I remember when David Justice hits that ball, you see him just slam the mask on the floor. That's Tony Pena right there.
So, by the way, Ramirez means son of Ramiro. So son of Ramiro. Manuel he's the son of Ramiro. So they're not all winners here. Yeah, not all winners. Okay,
Manny Ramirez.
Now let's get to center field. Do you have a center fielder to share here?
Well, I had to get creative because in the Dominican Republic, there haven't been that many center fielders. So I had to dig into the Negro Leagues.
Oh, wow.
I had to dig into the Negro Leagues. They're major leaguers.
On the last day of Black History Month, no less.
Yes.
Good job.
So I had to dig into the Negro Leagues. And there was this guy by the name of Juan Tetelo Vargas. And he was a great player for the Cuban Stars and the New York Cubans, okay? 786 OPS with a 326 batting average, 424 slugging, and 361 OP on base. So slash line of 321, 361, 424 OPS of 786 in 10 seasons in the Negro Leagues. So that right there to me was, and because I wanted to honor the Negro Leagues as well, because there weren't many Dominicans that made it to the Negro Leagues, but this guy was one, and he was a really good ball player. It was before the days he played from his overall career, his first year in the Negro Leagues was in the old Negro Leagues in 1927. And then he played, his last game was in 1944. So he had an overall career in the Caribbean and the Negro Leagues of almost 20 years.
Wow.
But in the official Negro League stats, this guy's slash line was 326, 361, 424, OPS of 786.
So our guy Corey, who does the Work Shoot podcast every Thursday nights, the wrestling podcast over at Wrestling Life, he has a qualm with us about putting Manny Ramirez in left field, and when he's putting George Bell, who
is he at right field?
George Bell was
left field.
Left field.
Left field.
As a White Sox fan, I mostly remember him as a designated hitter, but I guess I remember him as a designated hitter. Well, back in the day when I hated the
MVP.
White Sox,
he won MVP one year.
Did he? George Bell?
Yes, George Bell was an MVP, wasn't he?
Oh snap!
Yes,
1987.
Yeah, 87.
Wow.
Yeah, George Bell was an MVP.
But
again, I mean, I get it. George Bell would have been a great. But I mean, look at his best 7 years and look at Manny's 7 years. I mean, I get it from a moral standpoint. If you want to skip Manny, you got Bell right there that can fill in. But if we're looking at the best player,
also Tony Fernandez
Tony
Fernandez's teammate with the Blue Jays back in the 80s. So it always comes back. They always have some connection.
It always comes back. And he had also 2 fourth place finishes, I believe. First 5. I think George Bell had one MVP and 2 top 5 finishes.
Yep, 86 and 89. Now here's the question that Corey has for us. Why no love for George Bell? I guess is what he's insinuating. How many games did Manny Ramirez actually play in left field? All right, well, let's go to the books. So George Bell was at 1,100 games. Manny Ramirez, who's mostly remembered as a poor fielding left fielder and mostly as a designated hitter, which is not true. He played 1,000 games, over 1,000 games at left field, plus 900 games at right field. So corner outfielder, right? He qualifies. He's there.
I would say, but Manny started in right field, and he had an arm on him. A lot of people don't remember this. Manny had a cannon back in the day. The problem is, just like Sammy Sosa, he could not put it in the fielder's mitt. It went either over his head, or he could never tame it. But he had a cannon for an arm in right field, and they gave him a lot of chances in right field. But I guess when he moved to the Red Sox, that right field was a little tricky there. If you're not a decent fielder, like Manny was not a decent fielder, but if you're not a good fielder, that I could see why they moved him to left field. But again, I know to our friend's point right here, yeah, George Bell would have been a legitimate choice. But if I take, Manny's hitting was just too good. It was head and shoulders good.
Yeah,
head and shoulders above good.
Absolutely. Let's move on to center field. I have a guy named the very strong man czar. That's what his name translates. It's Cesar Cedeno, strong man czar.
Czar.
So this is a lesser known guy, but I mean he fits the bill. He qualifies at center field, and I mean even Baseball Reference has him listed as a center fielder first, and then a first baseman. Played with the Astros in the 70s and the Reds in the 80s, and finished his career in 1986 with the Dodgers.
The
Dodgers. Hi, everybody.
500 for Dodger baseball.
From beautiful
Scully impression for the day.
From beautiful Chavez Ravine. All right, 550 stolen bases for Cesar Cedeno. 285 batting average, 347 on base percentage, 443 slugging with a respectable 790 ops and a 123 ops plus. I mean, the guy is a forgotten player. Finished 4th in Rookie of the Year in 1970. Finished top 25 in MVP votes for 4 years. Make that 5 years. Even in 1980, he got 13th in MVP. And from what I remember, people telling me he was a pretty smooth center fielding fielder. Say that 10 times fast.
Pretty smooth shorthand center fielder.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Before they brought that's before the day they brought out the tool bag. They used to say, instead of 5 tool player, they used to say the pretty durable. What was it again?
I don't know. What are you trying to say there?
Before they used to qualify a player as 5 tool player, they used to say what you said, pretty durable shorthanded.
Shorthanded fielder, center fielding fielder that fields all the fielding balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive Gold Gloves for the Astros back, and that's the Astrodome, which is supposed to be a pitcher-friendly ballpark. So that I have to assume that's like a very large outfield back there back in the day, from what I remember. Depending on if the air conditioning was on or off, I forget how that story goes. But yeah, Cesar
Before the cameras.
Before the camera. Damn it, cheating works, man. Just leave it. So yeah, man, that's my center fielder. I'm pretty sure Cesar can feel all the balls that are hitting the air, and you know what? He's the modern day Luis Robert, because he has Manny Ramirez in left field, so he's not only doing center field, but he's also fielding in left field as well. So
he's like a softball player. They move him from center to center left. But I think, are we moving on to right field? Because I think right field's pretty obvious. Right
field. You want to go? Want to say it at 1, 2, 3? Okay, wait. 1, 2, 3. Vladimir Guerrero.
Vladimir Guerrero. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Like Vladimir. I didn't know if you want to say Vlad or Brad. You know, it's kind of like if you go in for a fist pump and I give you for a handshake. You know, if you're gonna say Vladimir Guerrero and I'm gonna say Vlad Guerrero Sr. and then you go, oh my gosh, same guy. Yeah, Vladimir Guerrero, man. He's my right fielder. His guy is unbelievable player, you know. I saw him play, and unbelievable player right here.
Vladimir is a Slavic name, which means of great power. So great, powerful warrior.
Great, powerful warrior.
And of course,
and
we remember. I was gonna tell a quick story. Remember, Vladimir, also Vlad the Impaler, the dictator from Transylvania. Remember that All-Star game where his bat broke, Vladimir Guerrero's bat broke, and the shard went straight to Tommy Lasorda, was the third base coach. So that day he actually literally became Vlad the Impaler.
Well, I think the Impaler would have been like, if it would have gone through Tommy.
It could have been.
It could have been a tragedy right there.
I mean, it was an easy target, man. Tommy Lasorda is an easy target there at the third base coach.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Babacqua. Since we're doing impressions. I'm like Tommy Lasorda. That's a Babacqua. You know.
For some reason, I don't know if you remember, but when he would do Chicago sports radio be a guest on Chicago sports radio, Tommy Lasorda used to what do you call it? Promote Connie's Pizza. Go to Connie's Pizza.
Connie's Pizza, yeah.
I still have not seen any Connie's Pizza around this town.
Never.
I've seen the frozen pizza, Connie's Pizza, but I don't know any Connie. So you don't know any Connie's Pizza around town either?
Never. Never, not at all.
All right.
But it's funny because Tommy Lasorda used to be a good pitchman. I remember his Budweiser commercials in Puerto Rico. He spoke pretty decent Spanish too. Like, si tú invitas. Funny guy. But
you posted that.
To finish up my thought about the Dominican outfield. I got a backup outfield as well. That gives me all my infielders right there. We got Moises Alou. He's one of my backup outfielders. And I got, to appease your friend, I got George Bell. But George Bell did make it to my backup. I was like, maybe I should put Juan Soto here because Soto is a generational player, and it's gonna sound a little hypocritical for me because I went ahead and put Tatis as my shortstop.
Yeah.
But Soto is a generational player too. You can put him over here. But for some reason, I got this feeling that he's not gonna stay in the outfield. I got this feeling. I don't know. I can feel it in my bones that he's gonna move from there. So, and that's a conversation for another day. So that's what kind of balked at the idea of putting Soto here. But to me, from my untrained eyes, something doesn't seem right about him in left field for some reason. So, and that's why that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So my backup outfield is I got two outfielders. I got Moises Alou, who back in the day could play a little bit of center field, and a little bit, not too much.
A little bit, yeah.
I remember him playing center field in the Winter League a lot more than I did in the major leagues.
Okay.
And then, of course, to appease your friend as well, George Bell. That definitely made the all-time Dominican team. And I think we run out of spots in the in the field. Now we're gonna have to go to pitchers at some point.
Well, I have one more guy, but let's.
Yeah,
I mean, you talked about it. Let's talk about some of these outfielders from the Dominican Republic that did not make the list. Marcelo Zuna,
Alfonso Soriano.
I mean, I
Jose
don't have.
Bautista didn't make mine.
Yeah, I was close to putting him on my list, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, Jose Bautista. I was going to, but then I was like, no, I think Jose Ramirez has a higher ceiling than to be anything much more, because Bautista was never top 3 in MVP. Right. And Ramirez is already there at a much younger age. Then Bautista was still 750 OPS guy in Pittsburgh at Ramirez's age. So
something clicked for him in Toronto, pretty much.
That's for sure. The Alou brothers, Matty Alou, and Felipe Alou.
What? You're Felipe Alou. Sorry, I thought you were talking to me.
No. Yeah, Felipe Alou.
No, seriously, Felipe is such a rare name in pop culture and American media that anytime I hear Felipe Alou, I honestly do think they're talking about me. But he's the only one I know. I mean, everybody has a John, everybody has a Jimmy, everybody has a Robert. I don't have anybody except for Felipe Alou. That's why he's one of my favorite players. One of my favorite baseball people of all time, just because we share our first name. Raul Mondesi missed the cut.
Raul Mondesi. Yeah.
Carlos Gomez missed the cut. You mentioned the Alou brothers.
Jose Reyes.
Jose Reyes, but I was just talking about outfield. I'm just making a point that outfield is loaded.
Outfield,
loaded. I mean, Nelson Cruz.
They got more coming. More coming.
Nelson Cruz missed the cut
Nelson
as well.
Cruz. And you know what? If you wanted to go with 2 DHs, you could have put him there. But I was like, if I get 2 DHs, then I gotta remove a corner infield. So I got only 1 DH, but Nelson Cruz. But I cannot see Nelson Cruz as an outfield, because if Nelson Cruz were an outfielder, the Rangers would have a World Series ring. So,
ooh, boy, shade, just the shade. Yeah, so. Well, I got an old Texas Ranger outfield for you that he actually is on my bench. He's my only corner outfielder on my bench. So, it's Sammy Sosa, former Texas
Sammy
Ranger
Sosa,
yeah. There's a lot of controversy when you say the name Sammy Sosa. I mean, right now he's a Pepto man because he looks like a bottle of Pepto Bismol. But I mean, 600 home runs. We're gonna pretend those are legit, right? I guess.
I mean, moving on.
You're hesitating.
He missed the cut. That's why. Yeah, he missed the cut.
No, but I'm just saying he's on my team, bro. I mean,
he's on your team. My bad.
He
missed my cut. He's on your team. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's my my backup corner outfielder, and he played some center field, not very well. But the reason
in the game that McGuire tied the record, Sammy was playing center field, if I remember correctly. So it was that late in his career. So he has a lot of games at center field as well.
That's I like I said, I remember, and it's not the prettiest thing to watch Sammy Sosa. But the reason I put Vladimir Guerrero on the starting spot over Sosa was because Guerrero's arm is a million times more accurate. Sosa had a strong arm, but it was always sailing. I didn't realize that we were an hour in. It's time's flying by as we're having too much fun. I have another podcast to get to at once, so let's try to wrap this up. DH is David Ortiz. I mean, what's there to say about David Ortiz?
Yeah, nothing to say about that.
All right, let's go to pitchers now. I have Pedro Martinez as my starting pitcher number 1. Is that who you have?
That's how I have it. That's my number 1 is Pedro.
And then Juan Marichal at number 2.
Marichal at number 2. Yeah, those two, and they're not interchangeable. I'm sorry. Martinez 1, Marichal 2. That's it. It's that simple. Hey, for Giants fans,
Any quick tidbit about Juan Marichal for those youngsters out there?
Juan Marichal, well, let's see. Juan Marichal, he did make. He is the 243 wins, 289 ERA. But check out the leader in the Dominican Republic for complete games is Juan Marichal, 244 complete games. The guy that's at number 2 has 72, and it's not Pedro Martinez. It's a guy named Mario Soto.
Yeah.
So 244 complete games, 289 ERA. This guy was just unfair, and he did it from a mound that was a little higher. 3,500 innings. I mean, the guy was just unreal. ERA plus of 123, which is why he's number 2 and Pedro's number 1 at 154.
Yeah.
So. This guy was the solid number 2 in the Dominican Republic, and he will stay that way for a minute because I don't see many pitchers coming up.
And he had one of the better nicknames in baseball, the Dominican Dandy.
Dominican Dandy, yeah.
Why was he named the Dominican Dandy?
No idea, to be quite honest with you.
What's a dandy anyway? So
I mean, I just remember Chris Farley. I'm just dandy, you know. But remember, I mean, I learned how to speak English at full time when I was well into my teens. So I'm not very familiar with my euphemisms.
So here we go. Marischal in English means it's a farrier. It's the person who maintains the health and balance of the horse's feet through trimming of the hoof and placement of horseshoes. So Juan horse feet cleaner. Horsekeeper, yeah. Juan Horsekeeper, sure.
Juan Horsekeeper.
And then Pedro Martinez is Pedro Martinez. I mean, he's still you still see
Martinez,
him.
yeah.
Peter Martinez.
Peter Martinez, Petey.
Petey. Hey, Petey. That's what Kevin Millar calls him. Hey, Petey.
Petey, yeah.
What you gonna bring to the game today?
All-time leader in the Dominican Republic for Dominican pitchers in strikeouts per 9. Pedro Martinez with 10.02, 10 strikeouts per 9. He's the all-time leader in that. He's number 3 in wins with 219. Number 2 behind Marischal at 293. But you can make the case that Marischal was Pedro Martinez was pitching to create it. You know, road to the show characters pretty much in the American League East and Marischal had, you know, he's not known as a strikeout pitcher, but 2,300 pitchers, 2,300. Pedro had 3,154. So yeah, Pedro Martinez number 1 by far.
This next guy, my SP3 is Bartolo Colon. Just for longevity reasons, he made the cut as my number 3 starting pitcher. Who's your number 3 starting pitcher?
I got him in the bullpen as my innings eater or my 6th starter.
Yeah,
that's Bartolo. My number 3 starting pitcher is Jose Rijo. Jose Rijo, 1990 MVP in the World Series. He pitched 2 games. And you know what? He is much more than that. He had a 19-year career, ERA of 3.24, over 19 years, 116 and 91. And he was injured for 5 years, and he still put up. You know, he had 5 years that he did not play in the majors. Had a heck of a comeback, but when he was right, when he was for the Cincinnati Reds. In 10 years, he had 10 years with the Reds, 97 and 61 with a 2.83 ERA, 1.187 WHIP, and a 3.06 field independent pitching. So this guy's a solid number 3. He could have been number 1 or 2 in some teams in the league. He was the number 1, but I put him as my number 3 for all-time Dominican, Jose Rijo.
That's a good one. Rijo is my number 4. Starting pitcher. Again, the dominance that he displayed. He basically helped carry that Reds team to a World Series champion against a very vaunted Herculean Oakland Athletics team, which had Canseco and McGuire and Dave Stewart and all those guys.
But you know, your guy is not bad. Bartolo. I mean, he may have become a running joke towards the end of his career with the whole big sexy thing. But that could pitch. I mean, yes, that was supposed to be Johan Santana's Cy Young in 05. I get it. But I mean, the guy was, at least, if you're in the Cy Young conversation, you can pitch, and the guy could pitch back in the day, like when he was with Cleveland. He could definitely deal back then.
Let's go with some Spanish name here. Bartolo Colon, so basically Bartholomew Dove. Colon means dove. And Rico it looks like it's a happy, joyful person. Also, Jose Joyful person.
Joey Joyful. All right, Joey Joyful.
Joey Joyful. Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
Who's your SP4 then?
My number 4, Johnny Cueto.
Oh, okay.
Johnny Cueto. I got Johnny Cueto as my number 4 guy. Again, you know, and Johnny Cueto could have slid into 3. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people remember him from, you know, him melting in Pittsburgh but I mean, Johnny Cueto has a career ERA of 3.41, and he's pitched over 300 games. So he knows what he's doing. You know, 2nd place finish in Cy Young, a 4th place finish in Cy Young, a 6th place finish in Cy Young. So, I mean, yeah, solid guy to have in any rotation nonetheless. Again, 3.4 ERA, you know how to pitch, to my point.
Cueto in English translation means short, so Johnny Short.
Johnny Short.
And finally, my SP5 is Cesar Cedeno's teammate in Houston for a long time in the 70s, Joaquin Andujar, a forgotten
That's my number
man.
5. That's my number 5, Joaquin. I promise. Look at here. I got the evidence right there. Number 5. What's it say there?
Joaquin Andujar. I have the
Joaquin
evidence
Andujar,
too.
my
Yeah,
man.
see, I wrote it down.
Joaquin Andujar, and he's forgotten. He is absolutely forgotten about.
Yep.
And a lot of people remember the debacle in Game 7 that he almost put Don Denkinger through a wall.
Hold on. You're talking about the 85 World Series, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But Joaquin Andujar was a legit pitcher. Like 3.58 ERA. I know the wins is blah, but 127 wins. He's a. I mean, this guy could number 3 in all-time Dominican players with 68 complete games, and a number 3 as well for Dominican players, 19 shutouts. Number 1's Marichal at 52. Number 2, I'm gonna give you a guess. It's not Pedro, but it's related to Pedro.
Oh, Ramon Martinez?
Ramon Martinez is number 2 all-time for Dominican shutouts at 20, and then Joaquin Andujar at 19. And Pedro, number 4 with 17.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's a good way to win $20. You're like, who's number 2 with 20 shutouts? Number 2 all-time Dominican, last name Martinez. What's his name? And people gonna be like, Pedro. Just like, no, I win. It's Ramon.
No, I said they're gonna. No, well, if you're in Boston, is it Petey? It's Petey, right? It's Petey Martinez.
Petey, go get my car keys. Yeah.
All right, and that would bring us to the bullpen now.
Bullpen, yeah.
You
know what? I had a real conundrum here because
there's a lot of good guys on this list.
I was tempted to go towards the Corderos and Jose Mesa and all that, but for some reason, Dominican pitchers, they have 1 or 2 good years. The ones that I've looked at, and all of a sudden I could never find one that was a Mariano Rivera consistent, or a that had 10 straight years of good bullpen dominance. So what I had to do was I had to go to the K per 9. I went to the strikeouts per 9 and the walks per 9, Dominican walks per 9 pitchers, and I picked a bunch of guys from there. So my bullpen, you want me to tell you like 4 or 5 my whole bullpen, or you want me to tell you one by one?
Let's go the whole thing because we're running out of time.
Right,
who's your bullpen? And how many do you have? How many do you have?
I have 6 people in my bullpen.
I only have 5, but okay, go ahead.
I have 6. I got Francisco Liriano because I have to have a lefty in there and 9.9 K per 9. Mm-hmm. I got Big Sexy Bartolo Colon as my innings eater or 6 starter. Mm-hmm. I got another good K per 9 guy, Ubaldo Jimenez.
Oh wow,
good guy. I got Fernando Rodney, number 2 all time in Dominican players for innings pitched and games played. Games played. Sorry, not innings pitched. Number 5 is Mario Soto. We mentioned him here, 3.47 ERA. And number 6, I have the 1995 version of Jose Mesa, and that's it. I don't want nothing else. I just want 1995 Jose Mesa, and that's it. I have to get creative on that one. But, and I was tempted to go towards the Francisco Corderos and all these guys and Rafael Sorianos that just bring gas.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if it's for a short series, maybe I go with those guys. But if it's to put the best guys together, I mean, Dominican Republic has so many good pitchers that we forgot about. Pascual Perez has an ERA of 3.40, and people think of him like this guy's ERA was 3.40. He almost made my bullpen. Pascual Perez, the guy that got lost in Atlanta.
Was he related to Melito?
Yes,
Perez?
That's his brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's his brother, Melito Perez.
Former White Sox player there.
Yeah, 3.44 career ERA. So I mean, that guy was there were really good players there, but I had to go that route on the Dominican players. So these are the best K per 9. I grabbed the best K per 9 players, and I
Melvin, are you still there? You kind of broke up there for me, or is it me? I can't tell. We'll see what if Melvin comes back online. But Melvin, can you hear me now?
I'm back.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you, my man. My bad.
You kind of disappeared on me. Well, I'll quickly just say my bullpen then. I got Jose Joe Table, Jose Mesa as my closer.
You got the whole thing or just the 95 version?
No, the whole thing. I mean,
so that's not my guy. My guy's the 95 version.
I mean, 300. I just simply saw who the saves leader was, and I just kind of picked and choose. But yeah, Jose Table is my closer. 300 plus saves. You can't argue. Fernando Rodney. He's one of my late inning guys. I just like him as a personality. I mean, come on. I mean, the tilted hat. I still kind of wear my hat tilted sometimes because of Fernando Rodney and others like
for
him.
Those of you for those of you who are listening, I'm not watching. I'm doing the arrow right now.
Yeah, I was gonna do the arrow too, and that's one of my favorite finishers there. Who else is here? Alejandro Pena, who people forget, former Braves closer.
Alejandro Pena, yeah.
Unfortunately, the last memory most people have of Alejandro Pena is him giving up that single to Gene Larkin in the World Series in 1991.
91.
Armando Benitez, big fireballer, and if you saw the Dominican list of relievers, he basically leads them in strikeouts, or he's up there with over 1,000 strikeouts. It seems like.
Yeah, let's see, Armando Benitez. You know, and he caught a lot of bad. Like I know Mets fans are imploding right now that we're even there mentioning this guy. But I mean, this guy's got some serious numbers. He's got over 300 saves. Am I correct, or is he barely just under?
I thought I saw that he had over 300 saves, but I can double check for you if you want. But go ahead. Oh, geez, Melvin, you still there?
I'm back.
Okay, so yeah, so Armando Benitez, from what I remember, I could have sworn he had over 300 saves.
Okay.
I know that the strikeouts were plentiful as well. And my last guy is Octavio Botel.
Yeah, Octavio Botel. You know, Botel and Benitez are right. Benitez 762 appearances. Botel 758 for 6 and 7 all time in Dominican players.
By the way, Benitez has 289 saves.
Yeah, 289.
And close to 1,000 strikeouts. So that would put him somewhere third on the saves list here among the Dominican players who are leading in saves.
He's fourth. Number one. You want to take a shot at number one?
Well, I have the list here, but it looks like Jose Table. No, it's not Jose Table. It's Octavio Hotel. I have Octavio Hotel as with 1,100 strikeouts in terms of just the guys who are among the saves leaders.
Yeah.
So among the Dominican players over 100 saves, Octavio Hotel has the highest amount of strikeouts with 1,143, and that's my number 5 guy on my bullpen, Octavio Hotel, who seemingly
real quick because I know we're on the run. Guys that missed the cut on the bullpen, Jose Valverde, remember that guy?
Yeah, I remember him.
Jose Valverde, Juan Guzman, he missed the cut. Blue Jays. Also, we had Pedro Astacio, Ervin Santana.
Yeah.
Rafael Soriano, Santiago Casilla, Mel Rojas. They got a lot of really good bullpen arms, but all those guys could never be consistent, you know? Even Carlos Marmol, they could never be consistent. It was either like, you know, it was like you had to take something. You had to take like a Xanax or something to calm yourself before they came into the game. So that's it. That's who they are, my man.
I have a little bonus for you. Well, I mean, we have a 25-man roster here, but what's a 25-man roster without a manager? And
I thought about one.
My manager is, he didn't make the cut for my team, but he's definitely managing this squad, and that's Felipe Alou.
Felipe Alou?
Yeah.
I got a different manager.
What? Who's your manager?
I got a different manager. I got the all-time leader in championships for the Caribbean Series and former Seattle Mariner, Mr. Felix Fermin.
Okay.
That's the guy that should be the manager of the Dominican team right now for the next Classic. Felix Fermin. That guy's a legend managing. He does really well for his team.
Yeah.
So these guys, he's a well sought after manager in the Dominican Winter League. He should definitely manage the big team. And he has chosen not to manage in the big leagues because they've called him, but he's chosen to stay down there. Felix Fermin, great guy. So that's my manager. But I can see Felipe Alou is great, one of the great. You know him. You could also chosen Manny Acta.
Actually, you're jumping the gun on me, man. I actually do have Manny Acta as my third base coach.
Third base coach. Okay.
And as my
Manny
first
Hector.
base coach is Luis Pujols, the other Pujols. I
Luis
think
Pujols.
Luis was a catcher. But let me talk based on Felipe Lu, and we can wrap this up soon. Felipe Lu, over 1,000 wins. He's 1,033 wins, 503 win-loss percentage. So that puts him, 12 games over 500, I believe. And he finished in first place one time at least. But we all know the memorable job he did with the Montreal Expos year after year, not knowing if the Expos would keep some of the players that made him successful the years prior. He always kept that team afloat. He brought us Moises Alou into this world. So, and then Moises. Go ahead.
I would have rather Moises wear batting gloves. That's for sure. And doing what he did for hand grip,
Well, I mean, that's why he urinated on his hands. For he peed on his hands so he can get a better grip and save himself from blisters. So that's why he did it. And that's it. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up while we're still here, there, Melvin?
No, my man. It was great talking with you. Happy Independence Day to my Dominican brothers out there. I hope that if you disagree, go ahead, talk with us, because that's what we like doing, man. We're over here in Baseball Life. We got like 20 baseball savants right here that are just gonna they love baseball and they know a lot of baseball. So join us. If you like Dominican baseball, happy Independence Day to you, my friend. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope we got to bring back some really good memories from these guys right here.
Oh man, you know me, man. I always like talking baseball history. And why don't you go ahead and plug in your baseball page on Facebook again?
Oh, of course. I run a page called Baseball Cosmos, and we talk about baseball all year round, from everywhere, from all around. Like we talk the Australian League, we talk the Japanese League, the Korean League, all the winter leagues. Okay, we're not just Major League Baseball. We talk about every league because just in case something like in the off season, or our league doesn't start but their league starts, you got a little bit of baseball there to carry you through. Obviously it's not going to be the same quality pound for pound, but it's still really good baseball. Most like Henry Aaron, Roberto Clemente, if the winter leagues was good enough for those guys, then they're really good enough for us. So we definitely so if you want to I'm always in Baseball Live with the guys. If you guys want to join the page, you're more than welcome to come talk some international baseball with us.
I'm always down, man. I'm always down for anything. Sometimes those winter blues get to you, and nothing like baseball to remind you that, hey, it's spring's just around the corner. It's not going to be like this forever, right? Like we talked about at the beginning, it's raining outside. So, and I don't know about you. You're from Chicago. I'm from Chicago. I don't know if you've been going outside lately and you've just been breathing that air, and it's like, yeah, spring's just around the corner, which means baseball's coming.
I'm currently in Tennessee right now, but that's definitely right, we had a foot of snow on the ground last week, so it brought back some memories. And let me tell you, all that area, St. Louis, Chicago, all that snow, it'll melt, my friend. It'll melt. I can see the road already. It'll melt, and there you go. Baseball will be here with us before we know it.
Yeah, and then we got some spring training games already from what I've been hearing as well.
They start next week, so we'll see.
I could have sworn there was some Cactus League action going on right now, so we have to check that out soon.
That's perfect.
All right. Well, I am Felipe. That is Melvin right there. Melvin with Baseball Cosmos, and I am from the Total Bases Podcast. A little bit of crossover action over here live from Baseball Life. Please join us every weekend, Sunday mornings, and if not, join the Baseball Life group over at Facebook. It is what I think. No bias here, but I still think it's the best baseball group on Facebook that you'll find anywhere. So thank you for being here. Oh, there it is. Oh, you got the banner, the Baseball Life banner.
My 2020 World Series banner fell, but there's the Baseball Life standing right over it. So.
Oh, well, that's because our group is that's more well built. That's why.
That's right.
Melvin, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks everybody for listening in. Have a good one.
Thank you guys.